Welcome back, guys. Today we're going to start a new series. We're going to call it Workshop Wednesdays. I was talking a lot about workshopping during the modes on guitar lessons, and I realized that maybe I should just make some real quick little videos to show you like different things to workshop on, right? There's different skills that we're going to use playing these songs. We're going to do trilling, we're going to do legato style picking, we'll do tremolo, we're going to do unison bends, we're going to do pinch harmonics, we're going to do a bunch of different stuff, right? Because you need to know these things to be able to play these songs. So I figured, what the hell? Let's just go ahead and start and do every Wednesday. We're going to have a little class, and we're just going to do about a 5 or 7 minute video to go over these different skills. Today's video is going to be on trilling. I'm starting with trilling because a friend of mine, one of the people that also inspired me to start this channel, Pablo, thanks, man, asked me, hey, man, the part where you're playing in the beginning of H, the part that goes this, right? How are you playing that? Is it like pick and pull, or what exactly are you doing? Well, that's actually a trill is what that's called. That's called trilling, right? So hold on, let me turn off those effects. So, okay. All right, so that's a skill that's pretty important to know, right? Because there's a bunch of songs where we use trilling, right? The beginning of H is a great example of that, right? So all trilling really is just where you're picking the first note, and then the next note you're going to hammer on and pull off really quick. Now the pull off is not really a lift off, because a lift off would be just tapping. See how it doesn't continue to move because I'm just tapping the string, but it's actually where I'm grabbing the string and pulling it just a little bit to pull off back. Now that's really called a pull off, but when you're doing it in succession like that, it's called trilling. So it's, now you could do this indefinitely with practice, right? So the idea is that to practice trilling like that, and actually the best thing to do here is to take advantage of this, because this particular trill happens to resolve on a different note. By resolving, what I'm meaning is landing on or resting on, right? So, right, it's resting on that A. That's part of that riff. Now there's another part where it trills real quick here to the B flat, right, where it goes. Right here. See that? That's another part where, now that's a quick trill because really it's just a, right? But there are songs where you're going to be trilling because that's part of the riff, right? Well, let's just say in the solo part of Pushit, right, where it goes down to that A Phrygian legato trill tremolo combination, right? So it's going. All I'm doing there is just going while I'm maintaining this tremolo. I'm doing it without the distortion. So I turn it on, it sounds totally different. Right? So let me turn that back on. So as far as trilling exercises, let's get into like little exercises. Now, these are things that are intended to be done for about, I don't know, 5 to 10 minutes during your regular practice session, right? What I consider to be regular practice sessions is about 20 minutes where you set aside either every day, every other day. That schedule depends on you. Maybe I'll make a video about suggesting practice schedules, right? But what you want to do is practice trilling so your fingers get used to that action, right? So the way I start is I first plant my index finger somewhere. Let's say I plant it right here on the C, right? So then I'm going to start trilling first. I'm going to use these 3 fingers to trill off of this planted index finger. And that way my hand, my head, and my ears get used to this sound. And I just do this for like a minute or 2 at a time, then you gotta rest. You don't wanna do this for a long period of time. You do this for too long, you could actually strain your muscles in your hand, and you don't wanna do that, especially when you're just starting. And what you wanna do is make sure that the sound is coming through every time you hit and pull. You could do this with a metronome if you want. I mean, I really don't personally find the use of a metronome in this particular exercise, but you could if you want to. This is more about getting your fingers used to this motion, and also the fact that your ear is picking up on the fact that it's actually hitting both notes. Right? So that's trilling. That's what trilling is, right? Trilling also happens in the Grudge. There's actually a really particular trill that happens that I personally love the sound of it, right? And it goes like this. Let me turn the distortion back on. But it goes like this. Now that second part you do with the wah, but that's the idea. The idea is that trill right here, right? This trill right here. Now, sometimes these strings are thicker, so sometimes I do it with my index finger. Sometimes I do it like this. This is a great way to practice it, by the way, because the strings are thicker, so it's a little bit harder work on, right? If you want to really do like sorry about that. If you want to really do a real workshop, try doing pinky trills on the thicker strings, right? So that's trilling in a sense. That would be a great exercise. Just set yourself aside about, I don't know, 5 minutes. Do like maybe 1 or 2 minute blocks where you're just sitting there and you're just sit there just doing this for 1 minute at a time. Set a timer on your computer. And then you want to do different combinations of this. Now remember, you also want to do the ones where you're resting on a different note. So it'd be, right? Because that motion is very common in these songs, right? So we also have, there's a little trill. It's like a little hammer-on pull-off kind of trill thing in the descending solo. Man, I love this lick, man. It is so creative and so cool. And it's just a repeating motif throughout this entire solo. It literally, this is all, by the way, part of the D minor pentatonic scale. So we're using these notes first. So you see how I'm hammering on and pulling up? I'm only picking the strings on the first hit. Look. So it's just that same little trill motif just happening in different parts. You're just starting on different notes, right? So here we're starting on the D, resolving on the D. Here we're starting on the C. Then we're starting on the C again, but we're going to do this. So try to get that motion under your hands, man. Just do it slow. So now let's listen to it with distortion. Same lick, just with distortion. That's just like so later on, we're gonna get into a lesson probably doing descending, and you're gonna want to know how to do that little trill in there. That's gonna be part of the song. So go ahead and carve yourself out some time, man. Do some practice, sit down, do some trilling, and we're gonna move on to the next one. The next one I think I'm gonna end up doing is probably unison bends. All right, man. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching, and please keep coming back.